Gossip, slander, rumor. Hey, did you hear about so-and-so? This is not good. Speaking badly about people, lashon hara, it's a big transgression. It's right up there, big time. Nobody spends an evening gossiping with their friends and walks away feeling elevated. Everybody has a little bit of a bad taste in their mouth, don't you think? But why do we do it? Where's this coming from? And what are the excuses that people use to justify gossiping about other people? I wrote a book called Gossip with a man named Bob Berg. And Bob Berg says, rationalize are rational lies. The excuses that we make in order to justify doing something wrong, we can get pretty creative and pretty believable, even to ourselves. Here's the classic excuses that people use in order to justify gossiping, speaking lashon hara about other people. When I wrote this book, I'd be interviewed by television, radio, newspaper, magazines, and they would ask me about the book and about gossip. And usually about 5 minutes into every interview, the interviewer would turn to me and say, oh, come on, Lori, everybody knows gossip is fun. And I said, yeah, it's fun, unless they're talking about you. Then it's not so much fun anymore, is it? If you've ever been the subject of gossip, it's not fun. It's very hurtful and very, very destructive. It's fun, that's one excuse. Here's another one. But it's true. If you really, really want to do this transgression to the nth degree, to the greatest possible, in the greatest possible way, make sure it's true. If it's not true, it's still a transgression to speak badly about people, to make things up, or to pass along lies. But it's really not the pure definition of lashon hara. The pure definition of lashon hara, of gossip, is any form of communication that reflects badly on another person, unless there's a positive, constructive reason in order to share it. Any form of communication, speaking, writing, reading, and even body language. A roll of an eye, a raise of an eyebrow, a shrug, a look, can be hurtful. Gossip is like a fired bullet. Once you pull that trigger, just try and put that bullet back in. Someone's going to get killed. 3 people die. The person speaking, the person being spoken about, and the person listening. All are culpable. All can be destroyed. Another excuse that people use is, oh, if she were here, I would say it to her face. Maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't. And even if she was standing right there, you're forbidden to say it. Another one that people use, well, everybody knows about it. Well, even if it was on the front page of every newspaper in town, it still does not give you permission to speak about it. I'm sure there are times in life that you've been misjudged. Maybe you've been accused of something that wasn't proper, and you were completely innocent. You probably hope that people judged you to the good. You should judge other people to the good as well. You don't know the whole story. They always say there's 3 sides to every story: his side, her side, and the truth. Another excuse that people use, what else do people use? Again, passing it along. It's communication. It's what else are we going to talk about, which is pretty sad. There's nothing left to talk about. If I take away your ability to speak badly about other people, there's nothing left to talk about. There's no good to share. There's no meaning. There's no information. There's no wisdom. There's nobody to help. That's it. There's nothing left to talk about. When my book was being reviewed by different places, somebody called me up and they said, Lori, that foxnews.com, they've reviewed your book. So, of course, I click onto foxnews.com, and there's a picture of my book, and there's a quote from me, a quote from my co-author, Bob Berg, and I'm going down the story. And I was very intrigued because when I clicked on it and I saw the picture of the book, I also saw a picture of Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman in the same article. Got my attention. I'm clicking down. They're quoting a psychologist, a family therapist from Portland, Oregon, who says that gossip is very, very destructive to people, destroys families, destroys relationships. And then I get down to where they're talking about Tom and Nicole. And what does it say? It quotes the head of a very famous gossip tabloid in the United States. And he's defending it because they want to have a balanced article. He's defending Lashon Hara. It's his livelihood. He said, we are providing a service to humanity. People today, they don't even know who their neighbors are, but at least they know about Tom and Nicole. There's some justification. People often ask me, so what about Tom and Nicole? What about all these tabloids? What about all these entertainment and gossip television shows? These stars pay their publicists to get them on these shows. I'm doing what they want me to do. You know what? Even if somebody pays you, you're not allowed to speak Lashon Hara. And, ladies and gentlemen, it's a slippery slope from speaking about Tom and Nicole to speaking about your neighbor. Once you become desensitized, it's okay to speak or to listen to gossip about this person, but not that person, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. Listening to Lashon Hara. What about politics? There's a good one. What about politics? Well, in the United States, they had a president, a couple of presidents ago, President Clinton, and he fell morally in office. I believe, it seems to me, that it's the right of American citizens to know that their president fell morally in office. And then they're going to put that into their cheshbon, into their accounting of, are they going to vote for him in the next election? But they didn't have to know every dirty detail. It became sick entertainment for the American people. There's a difference between information that you need to know in order to make a just decision and gossip, slander, rumor. And for what? For what? In the Torah, when people spoke Lashon Hara, they spoke badly about people, there was a punishment. There was a direct punishment. People got this tsaros on their skin and their clothes and their houses. They got this, it was like a leprous type of disease. It was mida keneged mida. It was measure for measure. Why is this measure for measure? That I speak badly about someone and the Almighty makes it that I have this stuff on me? When you speak badly about people, you divide them. You separate them. When you have this stuff on you, no one wants to go near you. God separates you. There's actually a very heavy thing in our tradition and our writings. It says in Kabbalah that in the world to come, in Olam Haba, the choices we make here are going to affect what pleasure we have, what kind of eternity, what share we have in the world to come. There are certain people, according to the Rambam, Maimonides, the 12th century scholar, there are certain people who will lose their Olam Haba, who will get no eternity. No eternity. My husband, he's a rabbi, and he went to his rabbi. Rabbis have rabbis. And he said to his rabbi, I'm a rabbi. I'm in, right? I get eternity. And his rabbi said, not necessarily. My husband was very disappointed to hear that. He said there are certain people, and he quoted the Rambam, who will lose their eternity. Even if you never drove on Shabbat, you never turned on the lights on Shabbat, you gave tzedakah, you wore a big black hat and had a long white beard, you can lose your eternity by certain things. I'll share two of them. The first one, arrogance. It says a Baal Gaiva, an arrogant person, a Gaividic person, has no share in the world to come. Why? They were so full of themselves, there was no room for other people. there was certainly no room for God, because they thought they were God. And you see that there are certain mitzvot that help a person be humble, not to be arrogant. For example, a kippah. A kippah. A man must wear a kippah, is obligated to. Why? To remember there's a God above him, to keep him humble. It says a Baal Lashon Hara, a master of arrogance, a master of gossip and evil speech, has no place in the world to come, has no eternity. This is also Mida Keneged Mida. This is also measure for measure. You spent your life, I'm not just talking about somebody who speaks Lashon Hara once in a while. I mean a Baal Lashon Hara, a master of it. You spent your life dividing other people from other people. Now God divides you for eternity. For eternity. When someone speaks badly about someone, it's on their slate. Right? It's on your record. Unless you clear it up. God gives us a gift called tshuva. Tshuva does not mean to repent. It means to return. To return. If I'm returning to somewhere, if I buy a return ticket from Jerusalem to New York, I fly from Jerusalem to New York, and then I invoke my return ticket and I come back. I'm coming back to a place that's familiar. When we do tshuva, we're coming back to a place that's familiar. Where's that place? It's you. When you lie, when you speak badly about people, that's not you. That's the temporary insanity of our life. That's not the real you. The real you is so good. Well, we have temporary insanity. And we slip up and we succumb to social pressure. And we have moments where it's really not who we are. But we get sucked into, again, a social moment, a social pressure. We get down. When you make a mistake, and everybody makes mistakes, our Torah is filled with people making mistakes. You should learn from them. When your kids make a mistake, when you were a kid and you made a mistake, how do parents want their children to feel when they make a mistake? You're going to remind them of it all the time? You want them to feel badly? You want to destroy them with it? You want to label them with it? You want to burden them with it? No. You want them to acknowledge it. You want them to deal with it. You want them to learn from it. Then let go. After you've done your apologies and said you were sorry and really regretted it, and let go and go on. That's what you want. There's 4 steps of tshuva, according to the Rambam Maimonides, and you can remember them. It's a little bit of a French expression that has, or a sign that has come into many other languages. Where at the bottom of an invitation it says RSVP, Respondez s'il vous plaît. Please respond. RSVP. If you switch the first 2 letters, you get SRVP. And that's the acronym to remember the steps of tshuva. Let's do S. And we're going to use Lashon Hara. You can use any transgression for it, but we're going to talk about Lashon Hara and how to clear it up. Because you don't want this on your slate. When God judges you, you want this off. You don't want this on your record. S. S stands for stop. Stop making the mistake. It doesn't matter how long you've been messing up with this kid or having a poor relationship with your spouse. Stop. There's a rabbi that I know. His name is Rabbi Zelig Pliskin. He wrote a book, many books, but he wrote one book called Begin Again Now. You should buy the book. You don't even have to read the pages. Just put the title out, the cover, so you can see it. Begin again now. No matter how long you've been making a mistake, you can stop and you can start again. You really can. So S is stop. So in the example of Lashon Hara, of gossip, you've got to make a decision. I want to stop. I really do. The next one is R. R stands for regret. Regret doesn't mean guilt. Guilt is self-wallowing. paralyzing, burdening. We're not after that. We want to recognize we made a mistake and we want to go on. We want to change. We want to get on a new path. Regret. You should regret, though. You should feel badly that you did something, you spoke badly about somebody, and you should feel the heaviness of what you did. If there's no regret, there's no tshuva. If there's no regret, you're going to make the mistake again. How do I know? I have, thank God, 5 children. Imagine 2 of my children are fighting. Right? Could this happen? One, let's say, loses their temper and hits the other. And I walk in. What happened? You hit me. So what do I say to the one who was hitting? I say you're sorry. So what does my son say? Sorry. Brought tears to my eyes. Oh, there's no regret. Sorry. Is it going to happen again? Of course it's going to happen again. There was no regret. He didn't feel badly. He just sorry because I made him say it. That's what we do through life. Sorry. You must have regret. It's part of tshuva. V of SRVP is verbalize, vidui. Say the words. Say it out loud. To whom? If you've wronged another person, you spoke lashon hara about somebody, this is what you have to do for lashon hara. This is heavy. If you spoke badly about someone, you have to go to the person that you spoke to. You have to tell them, I'm sorry, I was wrong. I should not have spoken badly about so-and-so to you. And I caused you to transgress by listening to it. And then you have to go to the person that you spoke badly about, and they may not even have known that you said anything badly at all. And you have to ask their forgiveness. If we were real with this, if we knew that every time we spoke badly about someone, that the way to clear it up is I'm going to have to go to the person I spoke badly about, and I'm going to have to ask their forgiveness, we would think once, twice, and 3 times before we opened our mouths, wouldn't we? But imagine if you went to that person and you said to them, I'm sorry, forgive me, I spoke badly about you. What if they said, what do you mean you spoke badly about me? Who did you speak badly about you? And you said, well, I spoke to so-and-so. Well, now they're mad at you, and now they're mad at so-and-so. This is not what God wants. God wants shalom. God wants peace. If you know that that person is a very forgiving person, and if you were sincere in your tshuva and your apology, then you must tell them what you said or that you spoke badly about them, and they'll forgive you. Hopefully they will. But if they're the type of person who's not like that, and if going to them is only going to cause more grief and more hardship between you and the conflict between you and them, and between them and the person you spoke to, don't do that. This is what you do. And this is a low second best, all right? Very biddy of it. You go to the person and you say to them, imagine it's before Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and you say to them, I just want to wish you a Shana Tova, a good year. And if there's anything I might have said or I might have done this year, possibly that could have harmed you, please forgive me. And they say, oh, of course I forgive you for anything, and please forgive me, and hug and kiss. Shana Tova. You got out of it. It was very second best. You should know in your heart that the heaviness, that you really did speak badly about them and what you said. And God clears it up. God accepts the tshuva, but I think you know what I mean. If you really would have told them what you did, you would have been ashamed, right? You've been ashamed, embarrassed. That's how you should feel in front of God when you use His gift that He gave us, the gift of speech, and you use it not for a good purpose. The last step, the verbalize. You have to verbalize to the person, the people involved, and then you have to verbalize to God. You have to say to the Almighty, you don't have to be in shul, you don't have to be in a synagogue, you don't have to have a prayer book. Just say it in your own words, in your own language, from your heart, that you're sorry. Why do you have to say it on your lips? Isn't it enough just to think it in your head? Doesn't God know what you're thinking? Of course God knows what you're thinking. I'm married to my husband, good person to be married to. I know he loves me, and he knows that I know that he loves me. But when he says, Lori, I love you, it's magic. when you say the words, it makes it real. To the person speaking, to the person being spoken to. It changes the relationship. It must be on your lips, at least in an audible whisper. The person beside you doesn't need to hear it, but at least in an audible whisper between you and your Creator. Say you're sorry and feel the heaviness, but also know that God forgives you. It's over. If the tshuva is sincere. But there's one last step in our SRVP. The last step is plan. How am I going to make sure this does not happen again? Plan. If you don't have a plan, chances are you're going to make another mistake. Plan. For example, Lashon Hara. If there's a certain person in your family that people tend to gossip about, or two, okay, avoid, try to not spend so much time, perhaps with that person. Perhaps learn the laws of Lashon Hara so that when you're with that person, because you have to be with that person, that you're able to handle it. Maybe make up a sign with your husband when you tell him you're trying to work on this, and when you start going into a conversation and saying things you shouldn't, he should pull on his ear. Okay, maybe his earlobe will be very, very long after the evening's over, but some sort of signal to remind yourself, something. Have some sort of plan. When you have a plan, chances are you're not going to make that mistake again if you sincerely want to make it work. There is another step called, once you've done the step of stop, regret, verbalize, make a plan, God forgives you. But it's on your record. He checked it off, okay? It's forgiven, but it's there. It's still on your record. So what do? There's something called tshuva gomora, which is complete tshuva. It means that you've really got it. You really let go of it. And it's off your record. It doesn't even exist. How does that happen? There's different levels and different stages. I'll give you a basic one. The basic one is, you've done the tshuva. You said you're sorry to people. You've made amends. You say you're sorry to the Almighty. And now time goes by. Could be a few days, a few hours, could be a few months, could be a few years. And suddenly God sets up the situation that you could make that same mistake again, and you don't make the mistake. It's as if you never made the first mistake. Let me give you an example. Imagine that, a little off the beaten track here, imagine that, you have a desire for Big Macs, all right? You like Big Macs? But a Big Mac in the United States is not kosher. It's got meat, it's got cheese, it is not kosher. So what do? Stop eating the Big Macs. Regret, you feel badly even though you didn't know about kashrut growing up, but now you know and you understand and you don't want to do it, so you regret. Even regret not having the information. Verbalize. This is not between you and Ronald McDonald, okay? This is between you and God. And you verbalize it to the Almighty. Plan. I'm going to, instead of every time I drive home, I have to pass McDonald's, and then I go in and I order my Big Mac. Maybe I'll take a different route home, so I'm not tempted. All right? Do it. God forgives you. Now, it's 6 months down the road, and you're on the expressway, on the freeway, and it's the middle of the night, and you're traveling to visit your in-laws, and one of your kids wakes up in the van or in the car. They need to make, and we know it's not to make a picture, all right? It's time, you tell your spouse, get off the freeway, you pull off, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, the only thing open is a McDonald's. You got to get out, take your kid, go in. You got to walk into the McDonald's, you have to smell the smells. You have to see the picture of the Big Mac with the cheese melting. You have to pass the girl who goes, may I help you? And you have to say, no, thank you, we're just using the bathroom. Bring your kid to the bathroom, come out, pass the girl, pass the smells, pass the picture, get back into the van, get on the freeway. Tshuva Gomorrah. It's as if you never ate a Big Mac in your life. Right? Sometimes God, with a very good sense of humor, will remind you. Why do people do it? Why do we do it? Where's it coming from? It's not coming from a good place. If I put somebody down in some sick way, I'm feeling up. Why am I spending time talking about other people? Again, if it's coming from a place of, I need the attention. I need people to look at me. I need people to see me. I need people to listen to me. So I'm going to speak badly about somebody else. it's coming from a place where maybe you're not feeling so good about yourself. A person who has to speak badly about other people for sure doesn't have a lot of meaning in their life, because they have a lot of spare time to speak about other people. And a person like that wants to escape their own life. If you lose yourself in one of those gossip tabloids or those television shows, you're losing reality. There's a phenomena in North America called reality TV. People are spending all their time watching other people's lives and not good parts of their lives. Shut the TV off. There's a reality show called your life, and you have to deal with it. And the Torah has tools to help you to deal with it. Speaking Lashon Hara is masking it, band-aiding it. It really is temporary insanity. It's an illusion. You're in something and you're putting somebody else down and trying to get a grasp on your life. It's not going to happen. Resolve. The next conversation you have, use Lashon Tov. Use good speech. God gave you a gift, and He created your body in a certain way. We have 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, 1 mouth. He created it that you can open it and you can close it. There are times to open it. There are times to speak. There are times to spread wisdom, to make people feel good. There are times to close it. Know those times. Look into the laws and the customs and the guidelines of it. It will change your life, and I guarantee it'll change the life of everyone around you. Thank you very much.